महान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूराः मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं चिदमे तेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्.
The psychology behind war, the psychology behind any fight is both the parties are equally responsible for it. It can never happen where one doesn't want to fight and the other wants to fight, and fight happens. If there is a fight, both are equally responsible for that fight. In fact, both wants the fight. The reasons that they give might differ from both the parties. The reasons might differ, but nevertheless, both are keen on fight. In fact, if both are not keen on fight can never happen. It's impossible. That's the very indication of this battlefield itself. If the Kauravas created the war, the Pandavas are also equally responsible. If the Kauravas wanted to fight, Pandavas also wanted to fight. So both are equally responsible for the fight. Since both are equally responsible for the fight, both have to suffer the consequences of the fight. Since both are responsible for it, both have to share the consequences of the fight. What is the consequences of the fight? If Dhritarashtra was crying because of Putra Shoka, Yudhishthira was also crying. If Yudhishthira was crying of Putra Shoka, Arjuna was also crying because Dhritarashtra lost all the sons. Pandavas also lost all the sons. If Gandhari was crying because of Putra Shoka, Draupadi was also crying. And then when they asked Krishna, why did this happen? Why is it that all are crying? Because he said all of you wanted to fight. All of you asked for this fight. When you read story in a very wrong way, you choose bits and pieces from the stories that you like to hear, or some grandmother told you something, some 2-3 movies you see, and then you pick up bits and then you'll pick up bits and pieces from that, and then you think that's the story. If Duryodhana says the war is because I was done injustice, Duryodhana says the whole war is because I was done injustice. If this is the argument of Duryodhana for the fight, the same is the argument of Yudhishthira also. He said, I am also done injustice. And Bhishma looking at both of them saying, what injustice? There is no such thing as Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha. Verse number 9, he gives the list of the great soldiers on 3 verses he took to explain the great soldiers on the Pandava side. In 1 verse he completes the list of his side. Because he need not say so much about his side. The warriors on his side are so extraordinary. The warriors are on his side is so great. The first, he says, Bhavan. Bhavan means you yourself. You yourself means Dronacharya. Why Dronacharya? In the previous verse, he gave a very beautiful adjective to Dronacharya. He said, you are the best amongst the Dvijotamas, he said. You are the best amongst the twice born. You are the best amongst the Brahmins. You are the best, and you yourself is standing to protect me. Therefore, there is no problem. And what is the nature of Drona? One of the extraordinary teacher is Dronacharya, because he taught archery, he taught warfare, he taught everything to the man who is born to kill him. If he has said everybody else except this man, it is understandable. But he said, I'll teach. It means what? An indication of what teaching? He says, from my side I'll teach. What you want to do with the teaching is, after teaching, I have no say on what you should do. My job is to teach. Using the same teaching you want to kill me, that is extraordinary. You need extraordinary strength to be so objective to teach. That's why even Government of India, they give best teacher award, they give Dronacharya awards, no? You know that, no? Best teacher, they say it is Dronacharya award, because he is a great teacher. Not only he is a great teacher, in archery, he gave enlightenment to that hunter boy. His name is, what's his name? Ekalavya, correct. He gave enlightenment to that man, to that boy, hunter boy. He said, everybody said, what a cruel man, because he didn't teach. Dronacharya didn't teach. Seeing Dronacharya teaching others from a distance, Ekalavya learnt everything by himself. All that he did was, he kept one statue of Dronacharya, and he was praying to that statue morning and evening and practicing archery. And he became much greater archer than Arjuna himself. Because at least for Arjuna, he was learning archery for what? He was learning archery for livelihood. That is his livelihood. He has to learn. There is no other. If he doesn't learn archery, he will be dead. But Ekalavya was not learning archery for that. He was a completely different student. And he achieved that single-pointedness in archery. Arjuna could not attain single-pointedness in archery. Ekalavya. And then when they found out that he is a much greater archer, they said, call him and talk to him. So Dronacharya called him and said, one look at Ekalavya, only the teacher can understand. All the ignorant people are sitting and analyzing what the teacher did is right or wrong. All the debate clubs, what they do, all ignorant people sit and decide whether what Dronacharya did is right or wrong. How can an ignorant assess wise? In life, ignorant always assesses wise. The wise have compassionate to the ignorant. The ignorant tries to assess, judge the. Understand it like this. The wise have love and compassion to the ignorant. The ignorant assesses, judges the wise. Ignorant is. So when Dronacharya saw Ekalavya, he found out what quality he has, which nobody can see. He saw that. And then he said, okay, you learnt all this. From whom? As though he didn't know. He said, from whom you learnt all this? He said, of course, from you only. Okay, now that you have learnt, you have to offer Guru Dakshina. Yeah, now that you have learnt, where is my fees? Yeah. So as an obedient student, as a student of this glorious Vedantic tradition, Ekalavya asked, whatever you want, then only it is. This is what I have, and if I give now, that's not Guru Dakshina. So Ekalavya said, whatever you want, I'll give. Without blinking an eyelid, he said, I want your right thumb. Even without blinking, I want your right thumb. Without blinking an eyelid, Ekalavya said, take it. That's all. What a furor about this incident. Oh, he's such a bad teacher. He didn't want this thing to happen. He didn't want that thing to happen. And Dronacharya is not worried about. He is not worried about all this. Such a great, wonderful is that. If such a wonderful, great man is on your side, why do you have to worry? That's what he says. Bhavan, you are a great man. And he had a boon. The boon is only he can choose. See, we all don't have that choice, no? That freedom we don't have. Death chooses us. We try to run away and death chases us and we run away. That's symbolic, no? Yama comes with that. Yama comes with the rope. Because you are running away, he puts the noose around you and drags you. Yeah. He has a boon. What is the boon? He can choose when he want to. It means what? It's very symbolic. If you have made a choices in living, you can choose your death also. That's what it means. If you have not made any choice for your living, you cannot choose. Choosing death doesn't mean you will say on this particular day, particular time, I'll die. Not in that choice, not in that sense. It means a life full of, he lives a free life. That's all it means. His son is Ashwatthama. And Ashwatthama is a Chiranjeevi. Chiranjeevi means who will not die. He is still roaming here somewhere. We don't know. Yeah. Because he cannot die. One of the you will not die now. What a curse it is. To be roaming around in this body, you will not die now. It's not a boon. It's a curse. Yeah. He was roaming around, and Dronacharya know that Ashwatthama cannot be killed. He knew that because he is a Chiranjeevi. 5 days he led the war. If Bhishma led the war 10 days, he led the war 5 days. He led the war 5 days. He led, and Krishna said, "See, go and tell that man that his son Ashwatthama is killed. The only way he will drop his arms is go and tell him his son Ashwatthama is is killed. How can you kill a Chiranjeevi? And he also, if you and me knows na Dronacharya also, he also knows that. So they went and said, but then Bhima said, I will go and say. Krishna said, wait, if you go and say, match fixing has to be, it has to be a perfect match fixing. So who has to go and say that? Yudhishthira has to go and say, because he said, go and tell. And Yudhishthira said, how can I lie? How can I lie? Krishna said, you want kingdom, now pay the price. Otherwise, okay, I'll go and lie. It's more to kill Yudhishthira, not to kill. It's more to kill Yudhishthira, not to kill Dronacharya. Because you can't kill. How can you kill Dronacharya? So Yudhishthira went and said, Ashwatthama is. Immediately Dronacharya laid down the arms. Drishtadyumna jumped and beheaded him. Dronacharya. This is the sad end of Dronacharya, the great teacher. Next comes Bhishma. Bhishma himself is very symbolic. The birth of Bhishma itself is very symbolic because he is the son of Ganges. He is the son of Mother Ganges, meaning the worthwhile son of knowledge. He is the worthwhile son of knowledge. We are all not worthwhile son. He is the son of, because Ganges represents that. And he is the son of Bhagirathi. Bhagirathi is another name for Shantanu and Bhagirathi. And then the story, I am not going to the story of Bhishma. Father fell in love with the fisherman, son sacrificing for the father. It's unheard of, no. Father has to sacrifice for the son. The son sacrifices for the father's love. That is Bhishma. That's the story, no. Father fell in love with the fisherman. He fell in love with the fisherwoman. And he was feeling very depressed. Bhishma said, what happened? Shantanu, the father, said, no, nothing has happened. And if you want to ask what is happening in the house, don't ask that person, you should ask the driver. Because they will know everything that is happening. And Bhishma knew this psychology. So he went and asked the charioteer, what happened? This man is looking sad. What happened? And he said the truth. Your father went and met that. He is a driver. He can't say, go and ask your father, why are you asking me? I don't know. He can't say that. You know what happened? That fellow, I drove him there. This happened. And your father in love with that? And don't go and tell him that. I know it. Vishnu went. Straight he went to that father. He said, what's your problem? Where will you get a man like my father? Why don't you marry? Very intelligent father. He said, I am not worried about your father, I am worried about you, he said. I am not worried about your father, I am worried about you because I have heard about you. You are the son of Ganges. Trained by who's his guru? Parashurama. Trained by Parashurama himself, one of the Maha avatars, one of the avatars. You are trained by Parashurama in warfare. How can anybody even stand in front of you? And definitely the children, you are the natural heir to the throne. And my grandchildren will not get anything. Is this the worry? Of all the things in the world, is kingdom and wealth is the problem, na? kingdom and wealth and prosperity should not come in stand of love. Because love is of such a higher virtue, everything is worth sacrificing for love. Today love is sacrificed for? Today love is sacrificed for? All this. That's where Bhishma is so great, because all that we do, he did exactly the opposite. He said love is of highest virtue. So sacrifice the wealth and kingdom for the sake of love. He said, okay, I give up. I will not become the king. But what happens to your children? Because you are a great man, and your children will be as great as you are, or more great than you. Therefore, I can't allow this marriage. Bhishma said, is that a problem? Is this the problem? I will not marry. Full stop. I will not Brahmin. That's where he took the vow of celibacy, brahmacharya. For what? That vow of brahmacharya that he took, not out of pain and sorrow of life. Please understand. That's why he is great. The brahmacharya is not out of pain and sorrow of life. That brahmacharya was born out of love and sacrifice. That brahmacharya in Bhishma was born out of all other brahmacharyas out of pain and sorrow, escapism, running away. But Bhishma's brahmacharya wasn't born out of running away. His brahmacharya was born out of love and sacrifice. He said, I will not even marry. And the father was so happy. Gave the Bhishma, brought and married that lady. And then the story. They gave birth to, she gave birth to 3, and that 3 didn't work out, and then they gave birth to another 3. The second generation 3 is Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura, and that 3 gave birth to the Kauravas and the Pandavas, and they are fighting for the kingdom that he gave it away out of love and sacrifice. A great personality. If you see the Mahabharata serials in the television, one man from the first scene in white hair and white beard is Bhishma. Have you ever seen a young Bhishma? You can't. From the first scene he will be with white hair and white beard. Ayushman. That's a standard dialogue, isn't it? Father gave. You can choose to. You can choose to. And mother took a boon. Who took the boon from mother? Who took the boon from Bhishma? The mother. Mother means the lady for whom he sacrificed everything. She took the boon from Bhishma. What is the boon? You must protect Hastinapura. Correct, no? The story. She took the boon, saying, you must protect. Whatever happens, you must protect. He said, as long as I am alive, mother, I will protect. And for that boon, for that word, he gave the mother. He is standing there in the battlefield today. Great man, Bhishma. His power comes from that brahmacharya, not from brahmacharya. That brahmacharya born out of love and sacrifice. Since it is born out of love and sacrifice, he is there, standing in the Mahabharata war, fighting 7 generations at the same time. Arjuna himself is the when Arjuna entered the battlefield, Arjuna himself is the grandfather. Correct? You know that? Arjuna himself became the grandfather when he entered the battlefield. And Arjuna himself is great grandson of Bhishma. How many generations he is fighting? How many generations he is fighting there? He said, aging and all is a myth. There is no such thing as aging and all. He stood there like with all, and he wasn't there because of sheer respect. Oh, Vaisanarpa, just put him in the front and then take him out. Not that. 9.5 days he was slaughtering the Pandavas. They all came to Bhishma and said, if you fight, what will we do? He said, okay, I will do only one. Because of that boon to the mother, you 5 fellows I will not kill. Rest all no guarantee, he said. Except you 5, rest all no. And 9.5 days, no sign of this man relenting. No way this man could be stopped. Krishna said, enough is enough. He took the chakra to kill Bhishma. And Krishna gave a boon. What is the boon that Krishna gave? I will enter the battlefield unarmed and unprotected. Clear? Bhishma is great, Krishna is greatest. If Bhishma you can understand, Krishna cannot be understood. He gave a boon and he conveniently broke it also. He said, you fellows are not killing. I am going to kill him. He took the chakra. Bhishma said, you want to kill me, Krishna? No way that I can have a better death than getting killed by you. Please. All the fellows went and pleaded to him saying, please don't do that. Then what do we do? Half a day is gone. Another half a day. Do time pass. Till sunset, do time pass. In the night, they all crossed over and went to Bhishma's tent. The 5 Pandavas and Krishna went to the Bhishma's tent. Bhishma welcomed them and said, now what? You don't cross over and go to meet enemy? The commander-in-chief of, imagine 2 countries are in fight. You cross over and go and meet that man in his camp, and he is also giving tea and biscuits and say, let us have. What do you want? Krishna said, Bhishma, we want to win this battle. And you are the first one. As long as you are alive, we can't win. Please die tomorrow. Please choose to die tomorrow. Bhishma said, okay, I will die tomorrow. But how to kill him? Nobody can kill him. And Bhishma said, how to? He said, there is that man Chikandi, in your camp. Keep that fellow in front. Keep that fellow in front. Arjuna, stand behind that man and shoot. Because his arrows, he doesn't have that much strength to, his arrows, he cannot shoot with that strength to pierce me. Therefore, you shoot. I will be unprotected. Great man. Is this Vishnu? Third person that he talks about is Karna. Karna, the son of Kunti and sun god, the eldest of the Pandavas. When he entered the battlefield, Karna was killed already. Karna got killed already because Karna knew that he is fighting with his brothers. Pandavas didn't knew that. Yes, very sad. The Pandavas didn't knew that they are fighting with his They are fighting with their brother. They didn't know that. And Karna and Karna knew that he is. And mother came and took the boon. What is the boon? I want all of you to be alive. Karna said, you are very greedy, ma. It doesn't work like that. You are very greedy. You want Gandhari to get rid of all her sons, and you want all your sons to be alive. That's not war. From my side, I'll give you a boon. What? 4 sons I will not kill. But between Arjuna and me, I don't know. Because we have to fight. And that's the promise I have given to. See, all these people fought for sacrifice, not for the kingdom. All the fellows fought for sacrifice. And the beauty of it is, all of them were in the Kaurava side. None of them are in the Pandava side. All of them are in the side of Kauravas. And Karna also fought for sheer. He said, this is my duty to fight. I will fight. And in the battlefield, he fought in such a way that he could have killed all the 4 brothers. He could have killed all the 4 brothers because he took the gun right up to the head, and then he says, go away. Go away. And Yudhishthira said, why are you leaving me? He said, you don't know what is protecting you. He said, you don't know what is protecting you. What is protecting him? The promise that he made, not the mother. The promise that, don't say mother. The promise that he made protects. Go away. Go away. Why Arjuna? He said, see, that man fed me the whole life. Like a dog I was feeded by Duryodhana only for this moment where I have to fight and kill. Either I kill him or be killed by him. And we don't know what's going to happen. See, what you should understand is, please, in the aspect mattum try and remember. We are discussing the war on the first day of the battle. We know the story. We know the climax, and we are working backwards. That's where you will come up with 200 questions because you know the climax already. What you don't understand is, on the first day when this was happening, nobody had any clue to what's going to happen. Great warrior, Karna. He died at the hands of Arjuna. Then comes Kripa, Dronacharya and Kripacharya, 2 acharyas, 2 teachers. The first teacher is Kripa, the second teacher is Dronacharya, Kripacharya. A great man. He is the only one to survive he survived the war. Kripa, clear? The word Kripa has 2 meanings. The word Kripa has, the ordinary meaning of Kripa is what? Or Kripa Jastipa. Now what does it mean? Compassion. Clear? The deeper meaning of the word Kripa is victorious in battle. How can the same word have meanings? Kripa means victorious in battle. What is the battle? Kripa can come, compassion can come, love can come only when you have conquered the selfishness in you. He is that man who has conquered that. That's why he is an Acharya. Kripa can come then only. That's why the meaning of Kripa is victorious in battle. How can you call him victorious in battle and having name as Kripa, compassionate man? Kripacharya taught Parikshit also. Parikshit is grandson of Arjuna. Son of Abhimanyu is Parikshit. And Kripacharya taught warfare to Parikshit. Means anybody comes and goes, they continue to do their job. Clear? Oh, you, what a great, so they are all right, therefore I will not. I am also retired from business. I am also retiring from teaching. He said, whoever comes and goes, I keep teaching. Therefore, he continues to teach Parikshit. Extraordinary is this man, Pacharya. Ashwatthama, son of Dronacharya. He is the one to serve Kripa, Ashwatthama. They are the two fellows survived from the Kaurava side. From the Pandava side, how many survived? From the Pandava side, how many survived? Only the 5. The 5 brothers survived. From the Kaurava side, only the 2. Vikarna, one of the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. Of all the Dhritarashtra's son, he is the only righteous man. Because when Draupadi was, they did that act, no? They derobed her in the assembly. When the game of gambling was going on, when Yudhishthira said, I keep Draupadi and play, Vikarna stood up and said, don't do this, you are doing something wrong. From that time he was against the thing. Bhima took the vow that he will kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So when he was killing Vikarna, he apologized to him. He said, please forgive me that I have to kill you. Because I have taken the vow that I have to kill all the 100 sons. Now that I have to kill you, please forgive me. And Bhishma, the only time he cried in the battlefield is when he was killing. He said, what a terrible war is this where you and Bhishma has to be killed. What we got into now. Halfway through the firefighting, what do you understand? After getting into the war, destruction has already started. Bhima started thinking, what did we get into? Because this is a useless war where you have to be killed. The great Bhishma have to be killed. Bhurishrava, another great warrior. He got killed at the hands of Satyaki. And this killing of Satyaki to Bhurishrava led to the annihilation of the entire Yadava clan. If Krishna annihilated the Kaurava clan, he annihilated the Yadava clan also. Kauravas means the Kurus. The Pandavas and the Kauravas put together is called Kaurava clan. He made sure that everybody got killed in their clan. He made sure that everybody got killed in his Yadava clan also. What started the fight? I am not going into that story now. Adu pona aprom இல்லையா 9 மணி ஆயிடும் அதுக்குள்ளே இல்லையா அந்த ஸ்டோரிக்கும் சொன்னோம். The fight between the Yadavas started because the way in which Satyaki killed a great. These are the 7 warriors that Duryodhana lists out as the great warriors in, and everybody is representing some quality. Everybody is representing something extraordinary. That's why I said all the stories. Otherwise, no use in saying otherwise, because we are not having Harikatha discourses. No, Harikatha sessions we are not having. Otherwise, you have to give all the. But these stories are very relevant because every character represents something very, very, very nobler. In and through all this enumeration, Dronacharya staying quiet, listening to what Duryodhana has to say. Never not a word he spoke. Why not a word? Because Duryodhana was not in the mood to listen to anything. When a man is not ready to listen, don't waste time talking to that man. So Dronacharya kept quiet. There was no point in talking because Duryodhana is addressing Dronacharya and Dronacharya gives no reply to him. That's where you will never find Dronacharya Uvacha. That verse you will never find because he never uttered a word. He just kept on looking at him straight. Maybe he will be having compassionate insight, saying, poor fellow, you don't know what you are getting into. A very great teacher because he had all the knowledge and he has the capacity to stay quiet also. The trait of the teacher is he has the knowledge and stays quiet till the student asks. Because we have heard this many a times. Knowledge is never given. It always taken. That's the principle. And Dronacharya is symbolic of, he was literally living that principle. Verse number 9 padinga. Illana romba story aayirukku. And means from the previous verse. Many other heroes who have given up their lives for my sake, armed with various weapons and missiles, all well skilled in battle. This is the ignorance of Duryodhana. He is thinking all of them are fighting for his sake. All the great warriors, he thought they are fighting for his sake. What he didn't realize is they are all fighting out of what? Sheer knowledge, sheer understanding of this is what I ought to do. I do it to the best of my ability. That's all. That drove these great warriors to fight. Not that they want to protect. It so happened that Duryodhana is the king. That's all. It so happened that he is standing there, indirectly receiving the benefit. But none of them were fighting for Duryodhana. But the sacrifices of others, Duryodhana arrogating it to himself. All these warriors are ready to fight for my sake. For his sake, his own kith and kin won't stand there to protect. His own kith and kin don't stand there to fight. Ignorance segregates you from the rest. Ignorance segregates you from the rest. Knowledge unifies you with the rest. Ignorance segregates. Out of ignorance there is a iron curtain you put all around yourself, and you cannot leave that. Neither you will allow anyone to penetrate in ignorance. So you live in an ignorance. What Ramtirtha says, everybody lives in their own island, he says. Even in a house where 10 people are living, there are 10 islands, he says. They are living in their own, everybody is living in their own island, living in their own. Ignorance segregates. Knowledge, what knowledge does? Knowledge breaks that segregation. And knowledge breaks that segregation, union happens by itself. Union happens by itself. Duryodhana is arrogating. He is that arrogance. He is that ignorance. What is that segregation? What is the segregation of ignorance? The segregation of ignorance is mine, not mine. The segregation of ignorance is something is mine, something is not mine. And then what happens? As I will be clinging on to that which I say as mine, my eyes will go on to that thing which is not yet mine, and I will desperately try to make that also. Yeah. That's the wise one says, it's all divine. Everything is, there's nothing yours, there's nothing mine. It's all divine. That segregation is gone. Duryodhana, symbolic of that ignorant, selfish man, is falsely arrogating. What is the false arrogation? The sacrifices of others as though for his sake. How can there be a greater delusion? Can there be a greater delusion than this? And he is not giving the list, which I already explained. Why he is not giving that? Why he is not giving that? He is not giving that list. When somebody does a sacrifice, it's not for your sake. It is that person's nobility. When any man does a sacrifice, at least that much humility we should have to prostrate and say, it is that person's nobility. Oh, that person sacrificed for my sake. That is ignorance. That is ignorance. And what is the product of ignorance? What is the effect of ignorance? What is the effect of ignorance? All that you call as mine will be taken away from you right in front of your eyes, and then you will go. That's what happened to Duryodhana. All that he called as mine, one by one was taken away in front of his eyes, and then finally, first Duryodhana should have been killed, no? Everything would have. But then it doesn't happen like that. In selfishness, what happens? That is how life teaches you. All that you call as mine will be cut off, and then finally you will also be. Same thing happened to Ravana. In the Ramayana, what happened to Ravana? Everything was, all that he said as his, all that he thought he is protected by, one by one was taken away, and he was made to experience what? And then he died. The same thing is happening to Duryodhana here. This is happening to every ignorant person. What? If you lead a life of ignorance, what will be the effect of that life? That's the question, no? And the question dana ketta? Yeah. I forgot the question. What is that? What is the effect of ignorance? Destruction. Before destruction something happens. That is painful. Destruction is not painful. Before the destruction something happens, which inevitably that ignorant man, that selfish man has to experience. What is that? What is that? Pain. Pain caused by what? Everything was taken away. I told you everything. ஒரே ஒரு வார்த்தை தான் நீங்க சொல்லணும். Just one word you have to say. That's all. All that he thought was forcibly taken away right in front of his eyes, and then he died. Something happened in between. What? That is the most excruciating price you have to pay for remaining in ignorance, selfishness. What is that? I'll tell you. Don't guess. என்னெல்லாமோ சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சு, ரொம்ப philosophical. The biggest, most difficult thing of teaching is the teacher has to think like an ignorant man and teach. The ignorant student will answer like a wise teacher. Yeah. I can't forget that. He told me once, hey, you know every question that I asked, you know how much strenuous he said. I said, why? Because I have to think like, see, I am not an ignorant man, I have to think like an ignorant man and ask. But the answer you give back will be like wise? Yeah. Selfishness, destruction, this, that. Yeah. கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டப்பட்டு think like an ignorant man and give an answer. What do you experience? You have to experience loneliness. You have to experience loneliness. Suddenly you feel all alone. Nobody. Suddenly you feel that you are all by yourself, not in the evolutionary sense. You start experiencing loneliness. What does loneliness means? What is loneliness? What is loneliness? Nobody. யாருக்காவது கஷ்டம்னா I am the first man to go, sir. But when I am in trouble, nobody will come. It's against the law. If you are ready to serve someone like that, sorrow can never visit you. You will not know what sorrow is after that. Understand? But then you have to experience that loneliness. What is that loneliness? What is that loneliness? Why only me? This is a question everybody asks, no? This loneliness. Why only? When everybody in the world is happy, joyful, enjoying everything. Why? Why? Me alone have to sit and suffer. And you ask, what makes you to think others are all happy? Are paatale theriyaliya sir. They are also happy. They are all going for movies. They are all going for shopping. They are all doing everything. Can't you see them? They are all happy. And only me is suffering. Exactly the same thing others face looking at you. What is there for you to? The tragedy is everybody. If you understand chapter 1 like this, every word that he speaks from chapter 2 will be so inspiring. இவ்வளோ ஸ்டோரி எதுக்கு சொல்றதுன்னா அதுக்கு தான். Every word that he speaks from chapter 2 will be so inspiring. You understand? He was made to experience. Everything was taken away bit by bit in front of your eyes, and you have the experience. What is that experience? Selfishness makes you feel you are not lonely. You are not lonely. How can you be lonely? Because there is a divine that is always supporting. How can you be lonely? How can anybody be lonely? You create that loneliness. You create your own island of loneliness. By what? By staying in ignorance and selfishness. Duryodhana is symbolic of that. He is saying, see, all these great men are sacrificing for my sake. How can there be a greater delusion? You follow? Verse number 10 padinga.
Apajyatam tadasmakam varam bhishmabhirakshitam Pajyatam vidamedesham varam bhishmabhirakshitam.
This army of ours, protected by Bhishma, is unlimited, whereas that army of theirs, protected by Bhima, is limited. That army of theirs, you can see the contempt with which he is fighting. That army of, looking at the Dronacharya saying, that army of, led by your wise disciple, no, he cannot get rid of that anger and contempt. You get into life with anger and contempt, you are already defeated. You don't have, nobody from outside has to come, and your own anger will drown you. Your own contempt will drowns you. Duryodhana declares, aparyaptam, means this army of ours is unlimited. Unlimited means numbers. Unlimited means numbers. And protected by Bhishma. Whereas that army of theirs, now he is telling Dronacharya, Bhishma and all, please understand they are enemies, sir. Don't see them as your students and all. They are your enemies. That army of theirs is your enemy. So might as well fight properly and protect me and win the kingdom for me. And then what I will do? I will indulge. You do the sacrifice, I will do the indulgence. That's what he is saying. Actually, what is he saying? He is saying, you all do sacrifice, I will reap the fruits. 3rd chapter, verse number 7 and 8. He says, this is stealing, he says. Stena. He's a thief. Who's a thief? Who wants to enjoy the fruits of others' labor. He's a thief. And Duryodhana is portraying that. Duryodhana is portraying that quality in him. The superiority of the Kaurava army is not because of the numbers, it's because of the few. The superiority, there is a factual superiority. The factual superiority is not because of the numbers, it is because of the few great souls. If you look at life, selfishness is always more in numbers. Selfishness is always more in numbers, and that numbers gives an artificial look of strength. Artificial look of strength. And you find one lone man sacrificing, and since he is standing all by himself, he looks weak. The moment you gain this knowledge, you understand what? Power comes to you through sacrifice. Power comes only not through numbers. If numbers can bring powers, means all of us must feel very powerful now. Because we all have enough numbers, isn't it? If numbers alone can give strength, we all should be very, very powerful, because we all have enough numbers. Yeah. 7-digit bank balance I have, sir. Therefore, I am very, very safe. That numbers cannot give, because that numbers is there, but that human being still feels. The human being still feels insecure. There is a whole lot of people around, but still that man feels lonely. He says, nobody is there. Nobody is there for me. All that I want is only one person. When the whole world is there for you, leave the world behind. Why talk about the world? If you are a wise one, you will understand there is a divine that is there. And you can't derive strength from divine. You have to derive strength from. Now understand the law. Ignorance derives its strength from the lower numbers. Wisdom derives its strength from the divine. Wisdom, where wisdom derives its strength from? It's from higher, the divine. The lower derives its strength from numbers. That's where more the numbers, more secure you will feel. Less the numbers, less insecure. For example, take the simple example. Every Saturday, Venkat will send an SMS. Reminder for class. Reminder for class. And what all classes is it? Bhagavad Gita class. I don't know what all. Reminder. He said, okay, you come. Only you are sitting here. I have to come because I have no choice. I have to come. So I come. Only you come. You are looking at me. I am looking at you. Nobody is there. Look at the 7:35. Instead of looking at me, you will look. You look. Yaradu varangla. 8 o'clock. Nobody. You have almost decided to leave, but then you feel what? Your pavan. Look, that man is sitting and talking. One, the two, after the class, you can't. Yes, sir. Yarume varla. I said, first of all, why I come? I don't know. How will I know why others are not coming or not coming? Next Sunday. You will not dream of even. And then you come. Gate crash. Yeah. If you come, if by 6:45, if you don't come, you will not get a seat inside. Hopefully that situation should not arise. Yeah. Then I have to come by 6:30. Abhada. Correct. Because numbers. Ignorance derives its strength from numbers. In every field, maybe it might be material, it might be emotional, even in spirituality also, strength is derived through numbers. What is the numbers? 10 million times I have written Sri Ramajayam. Therefore I am very, very safe. 10 million times I have written. Therefore I am very. How many times you wrote? Another man says, you only 10 million times? I have wrote 15 million times, na? You start feeling what? Insecure. Understand? Duryodhana declares the superiority is through numbers. Superiority is not through numbers. Superiority is through service and sacrifice. The superiority of the Kaurava army is not because of the numbers. It's because of a few great souls ready to sacrifice. Very interesting. He says Bhishma and Bhima. Not Arjuna. On hindsight, if you see, Arjuna was the chief destructive force, but not on the first day. Not on the first day, because on the first day of the battle, Duryodhana is thinking, who's the real enemy? Bhima, not Arjuna. On hindsight, Arjuna was the chief, not the chief. Krishna used Arjuna, not Arjuna. Even there, don't give credit to Arjuna. It is Krishna. So Duryodhana says that army protected by Bhima, because rivalry for Duryodhana is Bhima. Rivalry for Karna is with Arjuna. Rivalry for Duryodhana is with. So he says what? If that fellow Bhima is killed, we will win. Insufficient, sufficient. These are the two words. Paryaptam, aparyaptam. Sufficient, insufficient. Yeah. When is enough? Enough. That is the topic. When is enough? Yeah. That is the two words. Paryaptam, paryaptam. He says, this is sufficient, that is each and every verse Duryodhana betrays his insecurity and fear. Even though on one hand he says, you are all great, you are all great, you are all great, you are all protecting me. On the other hand, he is still feeling the sense of insecurity. Verse number 11.
Ayadeshu jataseshu yatha bhagamavastitaha Vishna Deva Virakshantu Bhavantastarvajevavi.
And stationed in your respective positions, in all divisions, all of you, God, Bhishma alone. Why he gives so much of importance to Bhishma is because Bhishma is the rallying point for the entire Kaurava army. It's not Duryodhana. Duryodhana is not the rallying point. The whole Kaurava army is standing there, deriving their inspiration from Bhishma, not from Duryodhana. And in a very deeper sense, Duryodhana also knows that. Therefore he says, all of you got Bhishma alone, where Bhishma need not be, and Bhishma need not be guarded at all. He knows how to protect. Nobody needs to guard Bhishma. He knows how to protect, and yet Duryodhana says, all of you got Bhishma, because let every one of you rally around. The central point for the Kaurava army is Bhishma. Stationed in your respective positions. Stationed in your respective position means everybody was allotted one place, one position. All of you standing there. But remember, all of us must protect Bhishma. Because the Kaurava army was made up of many diverse forces. You know how Duryodhana collected the army, no? The Kaurava army was made up of many different diverse forces, lacking a common goal. And the only inspiring figure is Bhishma, and Duryodhana has to capitalize on that. So he is saying, all of you got Bhishma. Because half the Yadava clan is fighting for Duryodhana against Pandavas. Yadava clan also was fighting for Duryodhana against the Pandavas. Because that's what Krishna said, no? Krishna said what? Unarmed, unprotected, I will be on one side. My entire army will be on the other side. He offered to Duryodhana, choose what you want. what Duryodhana chose. Yeah, what to do with the unarmed, unprotected man? What do you do with him in the battlefield? For battlefield you need army, and take the army. Even Arjuna didn't realize. Arjuna had no choice but to take Krishna. If the same thing was given to Arjuna, Arjuna also would have done the same thing. What? He would have taken the army, because he also wanted to win. Not that Arjuna was a great bhakta of, not that he was a great bhakta Allah. Yeah, he also would have done the same thing. So intelligently what Krishna did, he asked Duryodhana first, because knowing fully well what he will choose. What will you choose, Duryodhana? Yeah, on the one hand, I will be unarmed, unprotected. Other side is my army. And the Yadava clan of Krishna is no ordinary army. What do you want? He said, thank you, Krishna, I will take the army. Arjuna said, I will take you. How do you know that? That's why he wanted to run away from the battlefield. That's why he wanted to run away from the battlefield. Innu ore verse da. We will know how Arjuna wanted to run away. Yeah, Arjuna wanted to run away from the battlefield. If Krishna is there now, there is righteousness on your side. Why not simply get up and fight? He could not think like that. He could not understand. That's where Arjuna was also as ignorant as that's where in the Vedanta treatise, in that portion of aggressive good and aggressive bad, at the end of the section A, there is this lesson, there is this chapter, aggressive good and aggressive bad, passive good and passive bad. If Duryodhana is passive bad, Pandavas are passive good. And who manipulated the Kauravas? Who manipulated? Shakuni, aggressive bad. And Krishna, aggressive good, has to combat all that put together. You read that portion in that book Vedanta Treatise. There is this portion, aggressive good and aggressive bad, passive good and passive bad. How do you know that? One day, Narada is a Triloka Sanchari, isn't it? He keeps going to all the three lokas. When he was on one of his tours, he found a mirror. A unique mirror. What is the function of the mirror? It will reflect. You stand in front of the mirror, it will show. But that's a unique mirror. If you stand in front of that mirror, it will not show you. It will show the person that you are constantly thinking about. That's the mirror. And Narada brought that mirror and gave it to Krishna. Krishna said, give it to others. Why give it to? So everybody saw. And when they saw, you all will know who that person is constantly thinking about. And finally Krishna's turn came. He said, Krishna, stand in front. And Krishna said, no, I will not stand in front. If I stand in front, you will see the reflection and you will die of a heart attack, he said. You will get a heart attack and you will die. So I will not. No, please stand. I said, okay. If you want to die now, what can I do? He said, okay, I will stand. When he was walking, Rukmini thought her image will come. Satyabhama thought her image will come. Arjuna thought his image will come. And Krishna came and stood in front of the mirror, all fainted. All of them fainted because in that mirror, Shakuni was seen. In that mirror, Shakuni was seen. Now what does it mean? That aggressive good person, even though he is relating with all this, he is trying to constantly combat what? Aggressive. When such a man is standing on your side, why will you want to even run away from the battle? But Arjuna also equally ignorant, because the Pandavas were also equally ignorant. Only difference is what? They are passive good. And you always think passive good is better because you are also passively good. That's where, according to you, goodness means suffering, isn't it? Goodness means suffering. Only if you suffer, your goodness is established. See it. When anybody talks about their suffering, when anybody talks about their sorrowful moments of life, when anybody talks about their blissful moments of life, see their eyes. The intensity with which they can talk about their sorrowful moments, blissful moments will not have that intensity. You know why? Because in the deepest core, there is always an attraction to sorrow only, misery only. You know, when I was child, how much I suffered. The child looks at you and says, it's your karma. What can? Yeah. Your father was like that, my father is different. Now what can I do now? You will learn. You want to establish your goodness through the portrayal of your suffering. That's why even in a movie, if you see, you will never find a rich. The hero always has to come from the lowest, the poorest, maximum suffering, and the richest girl in town will fall in love with the poorest. Life it doesn't. It's so deeply psychological. So deeply psychologically embedded. What? Goodness means suffering. Enjoyment, that's where, see, the deepest core, you think all rich people are dishonest and all poor people are good, no? Such a sickening thought. All rich people are bad and all poor people are good, and everybody wants to become rich. Correct? Yeah. Nobody ever pauses and think, what is it that is happening to? What is it that is happening? Many diverse forces is that. And Bhishma is the only rallying point for the Kaurava army. And for the Pandava army, Krishna was controlling. There was no rallying point. By his power of intellect, he was simply deciding everything. To an extent where he decided Bhishma should die. He decided Duryodhana should die. It's the same Krishna that decided Abhimanyu also should die. You know that, no? The same Krishna that he said, let that boy in, let us go far away. He made sure that none of the fellows were anywhere near, and Abhimanyu was caught all by. You understand? Very difficult is to understand the glory of righteousness. The very difficult is to understand the beauty and glory of righteousness. To understand the beauty and glory of righteousness, you have to be rich. You have to be rich not in terms of wealth. You have to be rich. Then only you can understand that. Otherwise, suffering will be seen as suffering will be seen as, and all the virtue that people claim is through their experiences of suffering. You can never say, what a wonderful father I had. He made sure that he never allowed me to suffer. You cannot say that. You have to say what? You cannot. Because virtue means, it's a wrong understanding. Ignorance it is. What is the right way? The right knowledge says. The right understanding says. Suffering is a sign of ignorance, selfishness. Suffering is a sign of ignorance and selfishness. Joy and bliss is the sign of knowledge. Joy and bliss is a sign of knowledge. Suffering can never be virtuous. Suffering is always a product of, that's where the wise one says, there is no suffering. He'll never say, suffer and come out. He'll say, there is no suffering. Integration of the personality must happen ideally through dharma. Since there was no dharma, he has to portray Bhishma as the rallying point. Duryodhana portrayed Bhishma as the rallying point for war. Krishna says dharma as the rallying point for war. Duryodhana portrays Bhishma as the rallying point. Krishna says dharma is the rallying point. In that, Krishna stands out so completely different from the rest, including Bhishma, even Bhishma, Dronacharya and also can't come anywhere closer to, okay, they are all great souls, but no way closer to Krishna. But the story of Bhishma and Karna and Dronacharya will inspire you, but not Krishna. Why? Because we have a very wrong understanding of what life itself is. We have a very wrong understanding of what virtue itself is. The whole Gita is giving the right knowledge of what dharma is, what virtue is. Since he had no other person to use, Duryodhana has to exploit the name of Bhishma. It's a sheer exploitation. He says exploiting the name of Bhishma to rally the Kaurava army. Clear?